Hey everybody, I'm JJ, and right now we are going to take a look at a really cool set of devices called GoTenna. I've been looking at these for quite a while. They've been out for about a year or so, I think. I'm not sure when they actually hit the market full time, but I know they've been doing prototypes and stuff for a while. And I've kind of watched them with a lot of anticipation because I thought, that seems like a really cool idea. But anyway, I finally got my hands on a set. And so I wanted to do some testing on them. I wanted to see how well they worked and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I did. And you guys will see that later on in this video. But first I kind of want to talk to you about them and just give you a little bit of an overview of what they are, what their uses could be for a survivalist and prepper, and what they're not. You know what I mean? So let me just go ahead and open this up, kind of show you what you are. You got the box, got a couple of stickers, and I've already had these out and tested them. Like I said, you'll see the footage here shortly. Now this is what you got. All right, just a small plastic piece, about maybe an inch wide and 5-6 inches long, maybe like ½ inch deep, and then you pull this out and you have an antenna. And you got a pair of them. Okay, they work in pairs or more. So basically this is a MERS radio is what it is, and it uses Bluetooth technology and an app that you can download to your iOS, Apple, or Android phone, and it'll pair with your phone, and then you can use your phone to text messages and send locations encrypted through radio waves to the other device. Okay, so if you have one and your buddy has one and you're spread apart, let's say you're hiking or something like that, whatever, or you're at maybe at a fair or something, or an area where there's a lot of cell signal and it's overwhelming the towers and they don't work, then you could use these two independently because it works off of radio waves, not cell phone technology. So like I said, it's a MERS signal. It works off of 151-154 megahertz. That's the range that it goes into, and it uses encryption technology. It does 224-bit elliptical curve encryption, so that your messages basically stay private to you and they don't get broadcast out to everybody else. So their big competitors are going to be probably like these three categories of items. These are the little FRS, GRS handheld walkie-talkies. This is just a handheld CB radio, and then this is a Baofeng. Well, it's the box to a Baofeng ham radio, UHF, VHF. Now, these are great. Any civilian can have them, can use them. For the, let's see, what is it? The FRS, you don't have to have a license. I think the GRS, you are supposed to do a registration or something. But I don't think anybody really does. But with these, I find that you get about maybe a kilometer or so in good terrain and stuff. You just really don't get very good distance. You'll see the packaging say that they're supposed to go like 36 miles or something. That's absolutely ridiculous. There's no chance you're going to get that. It's all in theory and the way that radio waves propagate, and it just doesn't happen. Citizens band radio, a handheld one like this, you're probably going to get a mile or maybe 2 at the most, and that's again in optimal conditions. It's not going to go that far, and you're going to have a lot of other interference and stuff like that as well. UHF, VHF, ham radios, you could potentially get halfway across the world, but you have to be licensed in order to transmit anything on these. So you've got to get your ham radio license, otherwise you can go to jail. They take that pretty seriously. Okay, so what does this do, and how far does the GoTenna work? Well, it says that it's pretty upfront in all the packaging and everything like that. That it says that your terrain conditions will dictate how far it works, because it works off of line of sight like these other radios. And let me back up for just a second. When I said that the ham radio will go halfway across the world, that's if you get a cloud, skip and that kind of thing. I'm not talking about just its native capability. Okay, native capability on this 8-watt radio is probably going to be somewhere in the range of 6 to 8 kilometers, or 6 to 8 miles, somewhere in that vicinity, without having a repeater or skipping a cloud or anything like that. So, and let me also caveat this: I'm not a radio expert, but I have used radios for 20 years and I know quite a bit about them. But I'm definitely not an expert. So if I say something that's a little off or not using the appropriate terminology, please forgive me. So anyway, back to the GoTenna. So they're pretty upfront in their advertising that it basically is going to range, because it's all determined by line of sight. And they say, you know, it could be as short as a half a mile if you're in a really crowded urban area, you know, with lots of tall buildings and all that kind of stuff, to up to 4 or 5 miles if you were in a you know, relatively flat area, or you had a high vantage point where you were able to get high and then have another one down lower, and that kind of thing. And so I will show you what kind of results I got in this, in the footage that comes after this, and I think you guys are going to be really, really surprised, because I was absolutely blown away how far that they worked. I thought that they would only go about half a mile to a mile. That is what my anticipation was, because it's a 2-watt radio, and a 2-watt radio generally you're going to get, you know, a couple kilometers or so. If you get 2 miles out of a 2-watt radio, you're doing good, I think. So I figured in the area that I live, I thought, well, I'll probably get, you know, a mile-ish or so, you know, give or take. But it did a lot better than that. It did a lot better than that. Now, here's some benefits to this. The GoTenna, the benefits to it, like I said, are it's encrypted communications. And so the text messages that you see, there is no voice capability on this whatsoever, but the text messages that you receive are encrypted. So it's not being broadcast out to everybody who is on this frequency. That is pretty cool. You can also use it for a small group. Let's say if you've got 8 or 10 buddies that are in a, you know, a prepping group or something like that, you can get one of these for each person, and you can do group texts as well. You can send them out to, you know, bursts out to all the different ones, and they can all receive it for, you know, encrypted team communications, which is pretty cool. You can also send map locations of where you are to the group and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool from coordinating a team effort perspective. So I thought that was awesome. Using radios like these, this, or even a MERS radio, a regular MERS radio, or even the Baofangs, which is super popular in the prepper world and community, and I'll have more on that later. The problem with these is those are generally broadcast out into the open radio waves, and anybody in the area is going to be able to hear it. So that could be problematic for you know, times when we're in a without rule of law kind of situation or whatever, and you're wanting to keep your communications to yourself and among your group, you know, in private and that kind of thing. So this is kind of cool. So let's take a real quick look at these. You do have a it is water resistant and weather resistant is what they call it. As you can see, it's kind of got the O-ring here to try to keep water out. This is a charging point. I think it's a mini USB or micro USB, I'm not sure which. Charging port for it. It's got a rechargeable lithium battery inside of it. You also have an indicator light right here to let you know that it's charging. And then you have the antenna that pulls out. And then you've got a signal light that lets you know if it's pairing and that kind of thing. And you got a real good positive click on it. It's very sturdy. And then you've got the strap here for mounting it to your gear, and a good, you know, positive snap on that as well. So these things are constructed really nicely. I forget, let's see, what's the run time on these? I don't remember right off the top of my head. I'm gonna say that it was about 8 hours. I'll put a annotation in here. I'll have to look that up. I think it was right around 8 hours, but I can't remember for sure. as far as battery usage and stuff like that. But the cool thing is that because it's USB and it's a lithium-ion rechargeable, you can use the little power cells and stuff like that and just plug them into it like a little battery power cell or whatever, and then you can get it even longer. You know what I mean? You put it into like a 10,000 milliamp battery cell, and I mean you could run it for weeks probably. So that is kind of cool. So there's definitely a lot of advantages to this that I can see. The primary disadvantage is its line of sight. So if you're not able to get one of them up high, to get over the trees and over the buildings and all that kind of stuff, then you're going to have a difficult time in getting a lot of distance, okay? But as you'll see in my tests, there's some really easy ways to do that. And the other thing that I didn't do in the test that I could absolutely see someone doing is mounting these to a drone, you know, and then taking a drone up and kind of using it like that. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, with the availability of drones, it's completely feasible. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get into the testing. I've been rambling long enough. I can tell you that my overall impression of these is that they're very well built. They're really cool technology, and I think that they do have some uses as long as there is a, you know, as long as you have functioning electronics to be able to use it. So if there was an EMP or something like that, or solar flares, and it knocked out all the electronics or whatever, then okay, obviously this is a radio, it's not going to work. But I think even in disaster scenarios, you know, like Katrina or like Hurricane Sandy or, you know, anything like that, I could see how these could definitely be useful. And I could definitely see how they could be useful as far as prepping in a, you know, without rule of law situation, anything like that. So pretty cool item, and I think they go for about $199 right now, so about $100 each. And then the app that you download to your phone is free. So pretty cool deal. Let's see how far that they will talk to each other. I think you guys are going to be really surprised by this. Okay, we got test 3 started, going from the car, and the antenna is on the roof. All right. So I have the antenna up on top of my roof. So we'll see how far we can make it this time. I'm gonna go back the same way we did the first time, the first test, and see how far it goes. So I'm pretty much just gonna start like halfway there. There's no reason to stop at all the shorter ones because I know it's gonna do better. So I'm just gonna do that. Hopefully the battery don't die on me. Get up about halfway and then stop real quick and check it out. Okay, down, check it. Okay, about a half mile, test 3. Here we go. And went through no problem on that. Alright, let's go up to 3/4 of a mile. I'll go to the spot where we stopped, where it stopped getting reception last time, and try it there. Alright, this is pretty much the exact spot where it stopped last time.
Boom. Went through there, so the elevation definitely helps. Just go up here about a quarter mile. That's probably about 1 mile from the house, if I had to guess. Okay, let's see how it does. Boom. There's a mile. Roughly. Go up about a quarter. And right about here. Kind of down a hole here. Test 3. Boom. Scroll through. Go to 1.5 miles. Yep, went through at 1.5 miles. And you know, again, the reason that this is doing this is because my house is a 2-story house plus the steep roof pitch, and it's getting above most of the trees, you know, and that's really going to help the distance quite a bit. All right, we'll bump up to 1.75 miles. Further than 1.75 miles. So we're almost 2 miles. All right. Boom. Went through. I'm just shy. I'm only like 200 yards shy of 2 miles. So that's pretty cool. I'm surprised that just getting it to the top of the house has effectively doubled the distance that it will that it'll work. Yeah, so we're right at 2 here, so I guess I can try it when we're at the stoplight. That went through at 2 miles. For a 2-watt radio, getting a full 2 miles is good, because generally you only get about 2 kilometers. You get about 1 kilometer per watt is what I found in normal terrain conditions, and that's ground to ground, right? So we're up on the 2nd story now, going 2nd story, or really 3rd story because I'm on the roof, down to ground, and that helps tremendously. We'll see what we can get. We'll just keep going. Just keep going and keep going. It's going to be about 3 1/4. Yeah, that's cool, man. 3 1/4 miles. See if we can make it 3 1/2. I'm really excited about this because I really thought when they said up to 4 miles, I thought it was all hype. I really did. I just didn't believe that it was going to be able to get 4 miles communication out of a 2-watt radio, because that doesn't happen. And the only thing I can think of is this because it's a lighter signal, or I don't know, because they're doing data transmission instead of voice. I don't know if that has any bearing on it or not. So, all right, we're about 3 1/2. Here we go. Boom! 3 1/2 miles. I'm really surprised. Gosh, we'll see if it'll go 4, man. I don't know. Kind of coming to the top of a hill, and I've been kind of working up a gradual hill as we go, and that probably is gonna, help the test. Because the higher elevations you get, it's gonna be better. We'll see. Okay, here we are. About 3.8, 3 1/4, 3.75 miles. Test 3. Here we go. Slowly creeping up. No, didn't make it. Let me see if I can go a little further up. Let's get a little higher here. Probably not gonna make it. Let's try to resend. It went through at 3 3/4. It's so crazy. Let me try this again. I just put 3.75 mile. Actually, no, we're 3.8 now. 3.8 miles. Take 2. All right, let's send it. And it got it. We were just in enough of a hill. We were just below the crest at that last one, and that's what cut it off. So, we'll go a little further, see if we can make 4 miles. I'm basically adding a mile to my odometer. 3. Okay, let's see here. So it'll be 4 miles. Test 3. Kind of crested over the top of the hill, so I bet it won't make it now. Try resending it. One more time. Nope. All right, so basically we topped out at 3.8 miles with the antenna on the roof of my house and then me holding it outside of my vehicle. Now, I'm probably getting some interference from being in the metal vehicle and all that kind of stuff too, but overall, it's a pretty good test.
Okay guys, so that has been a look at the GoTenna radios, or communication devices. Maybe radio is not the best thing. I mean, that's technically what it is. But as you can see, 3.8 miles just by putting one of the antennas on top of my house in a shoe, just to sit there and let it hold it, and then connecting to that through Bluetooth into my phone in my bathroom, just down below in my bathroom, and I was able to get 3.8 miles of distance out of these. So I think that's pretty cool, because if you draw a 3.8 mile circle around your home in like a kind of grid down kind of situation, or without rule lock kind of situation, or whatever, that actually gives you a pretty big area to be able to operate. Or if you're out in the wilderness and you get up to a mountaintop and you kind of be able to spread out your signal that far as well, that gives you a pretty large area to be able to operate and still be able to communicate with some degree of regularity and efficiency. So for $200, I think this is a pretty sweet deal. I'm sure that the longer these are on the market, the more the price is going to come down, and I think they're a valid option. Now, they do have their limitations. Just understand the limitations, understand what they're designed for, and use them in that manner, and I think that that's where they could be useful. So anyway guys, as always, I definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and let me know in the comments below what you think about these. What do you think about the GoTennas? What do you think about the pros and cons? And what's your favorite communication device that you're using right now? And why is it better? Anyhow guys, have fun, stay safe, and take care. Don't forget to live the 6 P's. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe guys.
One of my biggest time wasters is driving to and from work every day. I can't text, I can't email, it's boring, and it wastes my time. But I started using Audible, listening to audiobooks as I drive. Audible gave me back 2 hours per day, and I love it. Click the link in the description below to get 30 days free, plus a free audiobook from audible.com when you sign up for the service.